You're listening to the Face Value Podcast, episode 153, when you don't believe your spouse is attracted to you. Let's do it.
Perfect.
Hello, welcome to this episode. Hope you're fantastic. Been dealing with some sound issues, so if the sound sounds different today, let me know, because QuickTime is being a dickhead. QuickTime, you hear me, you're being a dickhead. I press record and it doesn't record. Anyway, so I'm having to use a different way to record the sound today, so hopefully it sounds just as good or normal or whatever. So hey, welcome to this episode. You know what? I'm kind of slowly building up to 2023, even though we are in 2023. I was talking to some internet today and I was like, you know what? We just need to take all of January off. Like in the ideal non-capitalistic world, just no working in all winter or in the cold months, right? Because it's just bad. There's no sun. It's raining, and I don't want to do anything apart from cross stitch, watching Netflix, and having naps. But I'm lucky that I've got such an awesome job and I work for myself, right? So I'm very privileged. My favorite thing that happened in 2022 was purchasing a bidet, a bidet. You know, the thing that cleans your bum hole. It's amazing. I'm so happy. I got one from Tushy. I think it was like on sale for like 80, 90, something like that. I don't know. 120. Who the fuck knows? Whatever I paid, it was worth it. And apart from the only downside to my bidet is that the water pressure in my apartment is really strong, and sometimes when I turn the bidet off after washing my arsehole, I accidentally will increase the volume, because there's dials, right? And then increasing the volume instead of turning it off, increasing the volume increases the pressure, and the pressure is so hard that water spray goes through my colon, through my stomach, up through my esophagus, through my mouth. That's how powerful that motherfucker is. Anytime I accidentally do that, I'm like, whoa, whoa, unplanned enema, woo. But apart from that, you know, I need to keep, put the volume down, don't put the volume, or sometimes I'm like, turn it on, I'm just like, go for it, and then it's like, well, that's too much. But anyway, that is one clean arsehole. If you've ever wondered about my arsehole, since the Tushy, it is just immaculate. So if you're thinking about getting it, if you've always thought about a bidet, I say go for it. So that was the highlight of my 2022, was my arsehole. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about desirability. I was talking to a client, and anytime I talk to clients, and I'm kind of, when I start to get to know them, I'm like, who's in your life? Are they anti-diet? Are they fat positive? And a lot of times when people are in relationships, a thing that they talk about is their spouse. Either that their spouse is very supportive, or that their spouse is a bit of a dickhead. And if the spouse is supportive, it doesn't matter almost. I mean, it matters, but a lot of times I hear the sentiment of, I just can't believe them when they tell me that I am attractive. I just can't believe them. And it's such a common sentiment. I was like, I need to do a motherfucking podcast episode about this, right? Because I think it's a universal experience. Not for everyone, obviously, but for a lot of folks, fat folks, folks who are struggling with body image stuff. So let's talk about it. So first off, I wanted to get to know what you thought about this issue. So We've got some thank you Instagram followers. If you're not following me on Instagram, fierce.fatter, you're missing out on the party. And I asked Instagram followers, what do you think? So the question was, do you ever think that your spouse or partners are not attracted to your fat body? By the way, I'm using shorthand spouse, but what I mean is someone you might be in a long-term relationship, someone that you might be in a non-sexual relationship with, but still a loving partnership, someone that you are fucking one time, multiple people that you're fucking or in a relationship with, whatever the relationship dynamics are. I'm just shortening down that to spouse or partner. Let's just say partner. I think that's more, yeah, let's say partner. Do you ever think that your spouse or partners are not attracted to your fat body? I'm making a podcast episode about this and I would love to hear from you. So this is for folks who have partners who reassure them that their body is good, but you just can't seem to believe them or feel it for yourself. Have you ever experienced this? What does it feel like? What could your partner say, if anything, to make you truly believe them? What other thoughts do you have? Okay, so this is what people said. First one, my spouse is always complimenting me and telling me how attractive they are to me, but one thing that makes it hard for me to believe is that they otherwise only make positive comments about the appearance of straight-sized people. They will praise the accomplishments of fat people, but never their looks. Maybe that's because they don't want to make me jealous, but my brain perceives it differently. Something that I've noticed is that a lot of times people who are struggling with this are hyper aware of comments that their spouse has made. Often there'll be this one flippant comment that was said, or a trend of comments that is evidence to prove that they are lying to you. So, for example, a lot of times I hear, I asked my partner who is their type, and they described someone who does not look like me. And then, that was date one or whatever, and they've been together for 5 years. And that one comment of being like, oh, I like brunettes, and and you're blonde or whatever, it has stuck in the brain like this sticky thing that says, well, hang on a minute, 17 years ago you said that you like people with ashy hair versus my platinum hair, and our brains are really good at that, collecting evidence to prove. And sometimes there is real evidence, but a lot of the times we can grab onto proof that our partners are lying to us because one time that they said someone else was attractive. Okay, next person. This is my entire relationship. My fiance loves my body. He touches, caresses, and kisses every role I have. He tells me how sexy I am and how attracted to me he is and how much he loves me and my body. I never believe him, and I never feel that way about myself. It's tough, isn't it? And as well, when you have this fiance touches, caresses, kisses every role I have. Okay, we're going to go into more in that in a bit. We're going to be talking kind of like rounding this up of what people are saying. So let's just keep going. Next person. I used to struggle with this a lot more than I currently do. Something that helped a lot was asking my partner to compliment my body outside of times that he was trying to initiate intimacy. I often felt like it was a lie to get what he wanted, not a true compliment. He's also fat, and I don't know why it was so easy for me to find him attractive and so hard for me to believe that he finds me attractive. I suppose the difference is in how society values male and female bodies. We both make an effort to compliment each other more often and at random times now, and his confidence is way up, and I'm making progress towards believing I'm attractive. Yeah, amazing. Look at that little communication, and things feel a bit better for this person. And yeah, I like to think about my experiences. And now I'm not a man, I'm non-binary, but I think about attraction for me. And have I ever like been with someone who I'm like, oh, they're disgusting. Oh, they're repulsive. Oh, I have to like plug my nose while I'm with them or close my eyes because they're so repugnant to me. No, no. You know, sometimes maybe some, you know, people had smelly dicks and shit like that. But, you know, overall, you know, not long-term smelly dicks, but overall, that's not been my experience. Like, if I really was not attracted to someone, I would not be with them, especially in a relationship, right? I mean, and people might say to me, "Oh, you know, you're a nice person, Vinny. You're compassionate and kind." Yes, and even though I'm those things, I still would not be with someone as an act of charity. You know, I'm not that kind because that's not kind. You know, but that's just not gonna happen. And, you know, who I'm attracted to is very complicated because in regards to, I'm always kind of saying, well, why is it that I might have a preference for this or that, or why is it? So it's, you know, basically I'm attracted to a lot of people is what I'm saying. It's, you know, I think there's a lot of people who are attractive, right? And that I would want to be with. So anyway, next. Ooh, what a good podcast topic. I 100% relate. I trust him and believe he is telling me the truth, his truth, but I can't comprehend how he could really find me attractive / be attracted to me. There is disbelief and shame wrapped up in the idea and feeling of unworthiness or of being unbelievably, quote, lucky, like I don't deserve having someone to be attracted to my fat body. Sad face. Yes, that's how most of my life I felt like, wow, I'm with such a, you know, I'm so lucky to be with this person who will be with me despite my fat body versus be with me because I'm a fucking smoke show, you know, like, whoa, this is a real keeper. And a lot of times they had really shit personalities, but I'd be like, well, you know, probably not going to get anyone else who's going to want to have sex with me. And I look back and I'm like, excuse me, can you see you? Loads of people would just kill to be in bed with you and treat you like an absolute diamond. Really. These people are bozos that you're with, you know, the people with the bad personalities. Okay, so next person. I have this idea that my partner is only attracted to one type of body. Fit, curvy in the right places. Right in quotations. No cellulite, no body hair. And I have such a hard time believing him when he says he's attracted to me. Yeah. Just like an aside thing, the ideas of who is heralded as attractive, a lot of times it's prepubescent bodies. You know, exactly like this. No cellulite, no body hair, fit, curvy in the quote right places, right? It's a young body. It's a a lot of times it's a child's body, and that's fucked up. That is creepy as hell. I'm not saying that this person's you know, their partner, they believe that that's what their partner is attracted to, and there's a reason why, is because those types of bodies are heralded by society as the most attractive, but it's, I think it's really fucking creepy. Anyway, continuing. I think this comes from media telling me that there are very few ways to have a beautiful body. Yes, by society standard. Yes, is very deeply rooted for me. I just don't believe that he could find me attractive, even when he shows it and professes it. Yes, and you know what? Like, it's really illustrates to me, it's like we're looking at two different things, right? You're looking at your body and your partner is looking at your body, and it's almost like they're seeing different things, you know, and it's because you're wearing this pair of glasses, this pair of nasty glasses, which is anti-fat bias, deeply solidified to your face, right? They're no longer glasses. They've turned into eyeballs for you. You know, it's really impossible to take them off. Not impossible, but very difficult. And to see the reality. And the reality is this, you know, awesome human being that has a body that someone worships and wants to be with. But fat phobia has tainted the way that you view your body and human bodies in general. So we need to get that pair of glasses and, you know, rip your eyeballs out or whatever. You might not have eyeballs, but if you do, but you know, this is an analogy, and put them in the bin. Get rid of that stuff. And so what it is unlearning fat phobia, right? And seeing the beauty in bodies that look just like you. And the thing is, a lot of times we don't see fat bodies sexualized, and when we do, often they're fetishized, which is a lot of times dehumanizing for people. And so we have versions of sexuality with fat bodies, which is not sexuality that feels comfortable, because it is making people feel like not whole humans when they're fetishized. But there is many examples of fat bodies being presented as sensual and sexy and beautiful and all of the things that we're not used to seeing them being presented as. And we need to be seeking out these images. We need to be seeking out these stories. We need to be looking for that evidence that tells your brain, maybe the way that you're viewing your body is a little bit influenced by a shit ton of fat hate. And it is, right? If you have a brain, you can't escape that. So another person says, yes, I had a previous long-term partner who was horrible. Constant body shaming, lose erection / desire because of how I looked. I have a lot of internal fat phobia I'm working on for myself, but these comments are so hard to let go. I now have an amazing partner who has never seen me at my smallest, is with me at my largest, and has so much desire for this. When I have my meltdowns, he constantly and consistently validates and says how much he enjoys me for me, and it's not even a thought in his brain. For me, I do think it's repeating these words as I do the internal work to get comfortable with my body. I still have fear and shame, but it is easier to work through with the positive reinforcement. Yes. And that's the thing, is sometimes, a lot of times, we are met with people who have been abusive to us. This person saying, her previous long-term partner was body shaming and would lose erections, desires because of how I looked. Wow, that's really difficult. And that's fucked up. I'm mad at this person. I'm mad at this person for doing that to you. And I've had that experience too. Like my first boyfriend, who was abusive. I think I mentioned him a couple of podcasts ago. Anyway, there's a whole 2-episode thing on my abusive partner too, if you want all the juicy details. Anyway, I was 17, he was 30, he was a giant creep. And he would say to me, why do your breasts look like that? Why are they, he wouldn't use the word saggy, but he would compare them to other things. And why does your body look like that? Have you had a baby? Why have you got so many stretch marks? I had stretch marks because I was in a pubescent body and my body was growing because I was a child. And stretch marks are a normal way to have a body. Anyway, and when I heard these things, these were just a reinforcement of of what I already believe about my body. And so I was like, well, of course he's going to complain about my breasts not looking like a porn star's, because he has the right to be with someone who looks and acts like a porn star. He was abusive, deeply, deeply, deeply abusive in almost every way that you can be abusive. He also put me on I say diet, but basically starved me to lose weight, controlled what I ate, everything. So he was a awful person, right? And so him saying, why do you look like this? Some of the things really stuck. The stretch mark thing, I was just like, what's that got to do with anything? Because I hadn't had a lot of, hey, stretch marks are bad media in my head. I had a lot of tits need to look like this, because I'd watch those, those people, those programs where people would go to Ibiza and they'd go to, on vacation to Spain or whatever, and then they'd get their tits out. And I was always like, that is a rite of passage. If you have breasts, you need to be on a TV show where you lift your top up and show your breast to people. And I was terrified of that day coming, because I was like, I don't want to, but I have to, because that's what you do if you're on a night out. I remember at one point I was like, oh, I'm just not going to do it and see how that goes. I didn't even know that I could, I was like, I'm such a rebel by not showing my tits to people. It's so oh, poor young Vinny. I'm so worried about it. So I had that in my mind, that my tits weren't the right way, weren't the quote, when I say right way, they were fucking amazing, perfect. They are like just normal human tits, and now I could not even talk about that. That was so shameful for me. That was so shameful for me to think that I had these hidden, not only, I could be decent enough to have good tits if I was fat, Now I'm like, who doesn't have saggy tits? I mean, really? Like, I know that they exist, but I mean, I think I'd love to see some sort of stat on like breast donors. What percentage of them are not this porn star tit? And I bet you like 90% of breast owners don't have the porn star tits. And there's nothing wrong with porn star tits, but I just think it's just a very normal way to have breasts that are, saggy and wonky and inverted nipples and I don't know, hairs on them and etc, right? Because that's just normal body. And for spouses or partners to expect you to be walking out of the Playboy house onto their lap is deep misogyny, right? But we have it in our heads that we have to be this. It's unbelievable, while also living our lives, right? All the other things that we need to do. Okay, so continuing. New person who says, even though my partner is very reassuring, I sometimes feel like he and other people love me, but only tolerate that I'm in a fat body. He has assured me that this is not the case and has been very gentle and caring towards my body throughout its many changes. Still, I feel like the most experiences I've had were with people who either despised or fetishized my fat body. So it's hard for me to believe that my partner is neither of those. Yeah. Yes, and when you are with someone who is just a normal human, and I don't want to say they're nice, but that's just how you treat humans if you're not a dickhead, is just to be like, hey, I like you. And so it can be hard when you've got that information, even if you've not been with someone else before, but society is telling you your body is bad, and then you've got someone saying, no, I like it. And in fact, I think it's great. In fact, I want to have sex with you, all this type of stuff. I mean, shit, wouldn't you be like, really? Sounds like you're fucking lying to me. Or sounds like that you are the kindest person that has ever walked this earth. And actually, this is your act of charity for the year, is to fuck me. You know, at the end of the year when you're doing your taxes, you're like, yeah, actually, I did do this charity work. There was this girl, and I had sex with her, and actually I had we're in a long-term relationship. In fact, I fucking married her. Yeah, but I find the body repulsive, not attracted at all. But because I am such a nice, kind, charitable person, I'm going to date them. Their personality is all right, I guess. I'm going to date them. I don't think that is as realistic as maybe what our brains are telling us. That we just happen to stumble upon this person who sees us as this charity case that's gonna plug their nose, be with us despite our disgusting bodies. I mean, I just, would you do that? Would you? I mean, I wouldn't. And I'm a nice person, you know, it's just not realistic. And because I'm a nice person, I wouldn't do that to someone. That's fucked up. Okay, so before counselling, I was often questioning my relationship and worried my partner was cheating. He would reassure me and often tell me specific things he loved about me. I felt very bad about myself, would constantly tell him I'd lose weight, I would not eat, exercise too much. He would tell me to eat and that he loved me for me. Yeah. Yes, and so that person went to counselling to help them. Yeah, I vowed to a partner I would lose weight and become better for them. That was only after he confessed to me that he was less attracted to me because I had put on weight. I have a whole episode about that if that is your situation. By the way, that is fucked up, inappropriate, and should not have happened. That was a him problem, not a me problem. Okay, so next person. Yes, all the time I always think that I am pretty confident and body positive, but then I am so sensitive to what my husband thinks and feels about me. Never once has he made a comment about me needing to change, or he doesn't like the way I look, or anything negative about my weight. I have no idea why I feel this way towards him. And it's not like he's doing anything else passive aggressive, like, hey, don't eat that, or anything like that. I often ask if he likes me or if he finds me attractive, and at times I get really upset, anxious, depressed about it. He's reassured me so many times that he thinks I'm beautiful and I'm attractive and he wants to be with me, but I still have those thoughts. It's so strange. Married for 6 years. These thoughts are less and less frequent, but at one point they were really awful. I think a part of my doubts was what was my spouse's first partner. I was my spouse's first partner. I have no one else to compare myself to. If he had dated someone plus size, maybe I would. Thing is, though, I would do a big one on comparing myself to previous partners. Oh, that I used to be like, wow, at least I got this, and she doesn't have that. But you know, she might have been thinner, but you know. And just feeling so desperately sad about it. Even if your spouse had dated someone who was also plus sized, would that do it? Like, would that be like kind of problem solved and, oh, I feel great now? It might help, yeah. Maybe not. Maybe they were plus size but they were thinner. Maybe they're plus size but they had some other attribute that you're anxious about. So for me, because I'm tall, 5'7", I've often dreamed about if I could only be short. I dreamed about being 5'2". 5'2" was the perfect size, I believed. Nothing wrong with being 5'2", of course, but I really thought that was the pinnacle of perfect female height. And so saw myself as this monster. And so say if my spouse had dated a fat person before, but they were 5'2", I'd be like, well, it doesn't count that they were fat because they were short. And so that means that they were more feminine. I'm a monster, you know? But now I look at it like, oh, 5'2", yeah, that's cute. And also 5'7", that's statuesque. That's like goddess. That's like, you know, interesting. And so is 5'2", and so is 5'12", 5'12", 6 foot. You know, all of these things that is just like interesting. Like for me, different bodies are just, you know, it's interesting in different ways. Same way as you might like having an apple, but you also might like having a banana. It doesn't mean that the banana is bad because one day you choose the apple. It's, you know, that's how I feel about these things. Okay, so we've got some little comments here. Someone said, you know, I asked the question, could they do anything to help? Could your partners do anything to help? Someone said, yes, initiating sex would help. Not sure I'd be convinced by words. Yeah, here, that's the thing. So one of my long-term partners, he at the maybe middle of our relationship, many-year relationship, he just started not wanting to have sex as much. And by the end, it was always me initiating. He would always be like, kind of, do I have to type of thing. Just really made me feel like he was not into me at all. And so, yeah, if my spouse at that time had initiated sex, and that might have been very helpful for me. But I was internalizing that, making it about me. Really, it was about him. It was about him suffering with or living with anxiety and depression, and only stepping away could I understand that it wasn't about me. Okay, next. I gained weight during the relationship and always feel like he mourns the old me, despite the fact that he tells me otherwise and shows me otherwise often. Yeah. That's the thing. Is we're always, if we're going to be in a long-term relationship, or if we're going to have sex with people as we get older, we're going to have to deal with this. The fact that there was a time where we were younger. There might have been a time where we were thinner. And our social status, because of that, in society's eyes, not in everyone's eyes, is diminished. For me, I think aging is an incredible privilege, and it shows that I have had all of these years of wisdom and experience, and I'm thankful for it. A lot of people don't get to age, and if someone else, if a spouse or partner of mine didn't think that, I'd be like, shame on you, you know, like shame that you can't feel that. Not shame on you, but shame you can't feel like that. Someone says, I don't think my partner could say anything to make me believe them. That's the thing, right? It's you know, ask yourself that question. Could your partner say anything to make you believe them? You know, could they write a sworn oath and testament that they, you know, wank over you every Thursday night? Like, would that make you believe them? Or is it something that needs to come from you? And sometimes it can be a mix of the both. Sometimes it can just come from them and their reassurance. But what I see mostly is it needs to come from us, which is so fucking annoying. Why can't we just tell someone to tell us that we are absolutely fucking gorgeous and then it be fixed, right? Because, you know, with all this, you know, someone saying, hey, I think you're great. And we're just like, la 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 la. You're a lying piece of shit. I know that you're just saying that to be nice. Yeah. Someone else says, he will say, I love your fat ass, which I love, but I wonder, what about my belly? What about my fat belly? Yeah. I did until I stopped dating men. For some reason, I've often attracted fitness people. It's weird. He lives in a smaller body and criticizes himself often, yet tells me he loves me as I am. It's hard to believe he sees beauty in my fatness or that it's acceptable if he vilifies himself for his body when I am so much larger. Yes. And here's the thing, right? How much can you resonate with this statement? I think other fat people are gorgeous, just not me. So many people will say, yep, I can see the beauty in fat bodies, not mine. Even if I have the exact same body. And it's because it's about you, right? And so I would, you know, it's unhelpful that he criticizes himself and then says, oh, but a body that's bigger than mine, I really like. You know, no wonder your brain is like, I don't believe you. In this instance, I would probably really tell him, hey, it's not good for me when you criticize yourself. Or, don't talk about my boyfriend like that. You're talking shit about my boyfriend and I really like him. Or whoever it is. Okay, next. I have a hard time believing that my partner actually loves my fat body. Everyone else seems to have a problem with my fat body. He magically doesn't. Yes. And the thing is, everyone else has a problem with my fat body. For straight people, 25% of men will date a fat woman. So it feels like everyone else has a problem with fatness. And this is straight stats, right? But actually, 25% of people don't have a problem with fatness. And 25% sucks. It should be 100%, right? But still, 25% of people is a lot of people, right? How many people we've got in the world right now? 8 billion. Let's just make it 4 billion. People who are queer, who don't want to be with straight women. Let's just say 4 billion. That means that theoretically then 1 billion people want to be with you. 1 billion? Can you handle that? 1 billion dicks coming at you? I mean, I do like me some penises, but I'm not sure I can handle 1 billion. Maybe 1 million, but not 1 billion. And yes, we can cut it down and say, people not in the right age bracket, not in the same country, Even 100,000. Let's just go absolutely tiny, tiny numbers here. 100,000 people really want to be with you. Would love a night in heaven with you. Would love a long-term relationship with you. 100,000? I mean, sounds good to me. But it can feel like no one. And then when we find someone who is like, you're fucking amazing, what's wrong with them? Why are they saying that when no one else is agreeing with them? It just happens to be that maybe we've had experiences with people who were in the 75% bracket. Okay. Yeah, I experienced this. Hubby says he loves my bum and curves, but really? Yeah. Really? Really? Yeah. There is nothing my partner can say to make me believe him, but his actions can, and they do. Oh, someone says, my insecurities are the reason I think he doesn't love my body, not anything he says or does. Yeah. I have experienced this. Before I was in counselling, I would often worried that my partner would cheat. Yeah. I would always be worried that my partner was going to cheat. So I did a poll to see what percentage of people are feeling like this. And so what percentage of people do you think that your spouse or partners are not attracted to your fat body, even when they tell you they are? 65% said yes. 24% said sometimes, and 11% said no. So 90% of people feel like that at some point in their life. So I want to show you from the other perspective, right? So we've heard a lot of folks saying how they feel on the end of, I don't feel like my spouse is attracted to me. But I want to read to you some advice columns from people who are on the other side. The people who have a spouse that doesn't think that they're attractive. Okay, so this one says, my wife doesn't believe me, so I don't know how to convince her. Okay, so first marriage, disaster. Together, 20 plus for the kids, and never cheated. And I never cheated. I didn't find her attractive because of her narcissistic personality, and the verbal and physical abuse didn't help at all. Second marriage, 6 plus, I think, years. She's amazing. I'm in love and I'm happy. She's perfect for me. Very few complaints. So here's the thing. My wife absolutely insists that since I'm a man and that because of normal sexual urges, I must find other women attractive and desirable. She insists that this is just how it is. We have these discussions and she thinks that I'm lying. I insist that I'm being truthful, but she doesn't buy it. So I'm confused. So here's the thing. I literally find other women unattractive. I don't watch porn. I don't ogle other women. I don't knowing or willfully flirt, nor do I sneak peeks. I grew up with many older sisters who weren't always so nice to me. My first wife, she was abusive. I'm not really impressed with the sexual female. Don't know what that means, but I like the idea of the body parts. I'm not gay at all. And I just think that think of other women as fellow humans. I find my wife irresistible. She turns me on like a furnace. Every day I'm more attracted to her. She says she's not sexy. She says she needs to lose weight, yada, yada, yada. She undresses for a shower and I can't stop staring at her. She's perfect. She calls herself disgusting. She says, I don't know how you can look at this and I don't know how you're with me. She totally doesn't see the erection under the covers just when I think about her or see her naked. I love who she is as a person and that makes her incredibly sexy. Our relations are fantastic. We both finish our encounters having reached the pinnacle every time. We are so different in many ways, but she is my soulmate. So am I crazy? Is this normal or is she right? Am I supposed to have some sexual stirring from seeing other women? Because I literally find nobody else sexually attractive. Am I crazy? So here's this kind of like a double thing of she doesn't believe him and also he's not having attraction to other people. And people in the chat were saying, sounds like you've got some trauma from, your abusive relationship and your not so great sisters. And also sounds like you're demisexual. So demisexual is someone who has a sexual attraction to someone only when they get to know them, when they have an emotional connection. I'd say I'm pretty kind of, demi, like I can visually see people are attractive, but I'm not attracted to them until I know their personality. I think that's pretty common, right? But I guess this person is more kind of very maybe on the other end of the spectrum, right? And also the wife doesn't seem to believe him. And he's there like trying to hide his erection and she's just like, trying to, wash her vag in the shower. So he's like really attracted to her and they've been married for 6 years. Okay. This person says, I told her she's beautiful, but she doesn't believe me. What is wrong? There's a girl that I would like to date. I told her that she's beautiful and very cute, but then she replies, no, I'm not beautiful. I'm fat. And he says, I like girls with a bit of meat. Every time I make a compliment about her, she doesn't accept it. Is it because she's not interested in me? So this person is like, oh, there's something wrong with me because she doesn't believe me because clearly she's beautiful. Okay, so next one. My girlfriend doesn't believe me when I call her beautiful. We've been dating for 1.5 years now and we're very happy in our relationship. But something I've noticed is that she never takes my compliments seriously. Not in the sense of that she thinks it's a joke, but she doesn't think that she's beautiful. She sends me pictures, long distance relationship, and each time my heart flutters. I tell her she's gorgeous and that she's beautiful and alluring along with more provocative compliments. But she always says that she wants to do better for me. I'm flattered at that, but I want her to know that I'm not asking her to change. I find her beautiful and attractive just as she is. She comes from a family that degrades her, constantly calls her fat or too dark, but I look at her, I'm in awe of her beauty. I only hope, wish and pray that she will come to see herself as I do and that she will eventually see how wrong her parents were. Yeah, and people are like, you need to tell her that it's a pet peeve that she does that. My partner thinks they're ugly. My 21 male partner, 24 non-binary, thinks they have an ugly face and it's just not true. They are the most beautiful and elegant person I know, and it breaks my heart that they think so little of themselves. They even want to get plastic surgery to make their face better looking, and it puts a huge financial burden on them. They are working a job they don't really like and are terrified of losing it because it would mean that their surgery plan is in jeopardy. I know that they really want to have surgery. There's nothing I can do except for support them. So how can I get them to feel more beautiful? I feel like my words don't mean anything anymore, and I don't want them to feel shitty. Thanks for the help. So people are saying there's nothing you can say. Maybe ask them to go to a therapist to see if that might help them. And finally, my boyfriend says he's ugly. So it's not just a woman thing, right? Sometimes my boyfriend tells me how he thinks he's ugly. Now, he doesn't have the most attractive face ever, but I'm sure it wouldn't be considered ugly. But I love his face. I can spend hours just looking at it, and every glance at it just fills me up with the most warm, fuzzy, happy feeling ever. I could never truthfully say that I think he's ugly. I assume that he's not, but I just don't know what else to say. So those posts, I really wanted to show those because it shows what the other person is going through when someone is yucking their yum. So I don't know if you know this phrase. If you don't, yucking someone's yum is something we want to avoid, and it's saying yuck when they say, I find this yummy. And so you could relate it to food. So someone's eating a cheese toasty and someone else says, oh, that's disgusting. How can you eat a cheese toasty? That's gross. Melted cheese is horrible. It makes me sick. Ugh, that's so gross. That's inappropriate, right? You'd be like, fuck off with you. I like this cheese toasty. Go away. So we don't want to yuck people's yum. And it's a phrase that extends to other things too. If someone says, oh, I'm really into, I don't know, Batman. And you think Batman is the worst man superhero or whatever. You don't want to be like, you have got a terrible taste in superheroes. Batman is the worst. And you should be embarrassed that you like Batman. And it's the same with, we're yucking people's yum when we say, no, I'm not attractive. You're wrong. How could you be attracted to me? How is that possible? That's yucking their yum. And you know what yucking the yum does? It is a barrier to building connection. And of course, we're not probably saying, fuck you, you're a piece of shit because you find me attractive, right? It's not like that. But still, it can be very frustrating for the person who's on the receiving end, right? So we don't want to yuck someone's yum. Also, are we giving the message that your partner is deceptive and untrustworthy? You're potentially telling your partner that they're lying to you. You don't trust their words. Maybe is that what's happening? But a lot of people said, I believe them, but they think that I'm attractive. I just don't think it. And that's great. That's great. If we're at the stage where we believe that they think that we're attractive, you just can't see it, then that's great, because then we can move on to, okay, what can we do to make this feeling feel better? So is your spouse really buying into beauty ideals, right? Is your partner the type of person who is like, oh, that woman over there is so attractive, and oh, I really want to have sex with this person, oh, la 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 la. Well, then we can have a conversation with, hey, when you say that, that's really kind of unhelpful for me and my body image and self-esteem. Can you maybe not? Can you say, okay, a lot of people are saying, at the beginning, so what's your type? If your partner says, well, great, you're never even going to remember that, right? But if they say someone who is not you, or someone who has an attribute which is not like you, that is going to be branded onto your brain. And then anytime that you see that type of person, you're going to be like, oh my God, my partner is really going to want to be with them, and they think that my whatever is bad. That's something that I think that you could be talking to your partner about, going to therapy, journaling about, because it feels like that's something that's really sticky for a lot of people. And in the future, I'm not into being like, who's your type, or what celebrity do you want to be with? Because I just know it's a risky thing, for some sneaky little thing to come into my head later if I'm having a bad body image day and be like, ooh, your spouse is attracted to share and you're not share, you know. So we've got three scenarios here, three main scenarios of who you're potentially with and not believing them. Okay, so three scenarios. The first scenario is that your spouse is lying to you and is actually not attracted to you and is seeing you as a charity project and is deeply unattracted to you. So they are really kind, but they pity you and they commit their life to being with you and dating a horrible troll, you, who lives under a bridge. Or they're so deeply unkind that they are with you for your millions of dollars and other benefits, right? So the scenario one is that they're lying to you, and they're lying to you because they are very, very kind and you're their charity project. Or they're lying to you because they're very, very unkind and they want to steal money from you. Chances of that being reality? Not zero. Could happen. Especially if you're a millionaire. Chances that that's happening right now? Probably not very high, right? Really? And if you do think that your partner's with you because they see you as a kind of charity project, or they're with you because you're a millionaire, then maybe it's probably a good time to end that relationship. So if that's the first scenario, they're probably very, very unrealistic. The next scenario is the one that's going to be what a lot of people are saying is that they're just being truthful. They're attracted to you. They love you. They care for you. They think that you're really damn sexy. They want you to know it, and they're frustrated or upset or hopeful that you can feel it yourself. They might not be sad about that you don't feel it, but they do. They like you. If that's the case, then we know that the problem is the beliefs that we are holding. And it's not your fault that you have those beliefs. It would be fucking weird if you didn't, because we live in a society that tells us we need to be young, thin, white, non-disabled, this unrealistic version of a human being, right? So that goes to show that we've got work here to unlearn anti-fat bias. Okay? And a great place to start is your social media. Who are you following? What images are going into your brain? What shows are you watching? Etc., etc. How are you training your brain to show your brain that fatness is fucking amazing? How are you training your brain to show it that thinness and whiteness and youngness and non-disabled, cisgender, straight, all of that type of stuff is the default? Okay, we need to be training our brains to show our brains who humans are, what humans look like. Okay, so the first scenario is you're dating someone who's lying. The second scenario is you're dating someone who's attracted to you. And that's just it. You're going to have to just deal with it, okay? Someone thinks that you're a smoke show, okay? So you'll just have to do the work on your side, right? The third scenario, which is probably the more nuanced, where more people might fall, is that you're dating an imperfect human being who is affected by beauty ideals, who is affected by toxic masculinity, by misogyny, by fat phobia, by anti-trans rhetoric, by all of those things, right? Who maybe has said something to you in the past, or maybe watches a lot of porn, and you know they do, and porn which is very kind of thin and white. Maybe they have depression. Maybe they are asexual or on the spectrum. Maybe they're demisexual. Maybe they're tired. Maybe they're not bothered. Maybe they need to go to therapy. So maybe they're a complex human being. And there's a range here, right? So when I say maybe they're not bothered, that might be, if they're not bothered by showing you that they're attracted to you and wanting to be in a relationship with you and all that type of stuff, that might be a clue that this might not be the best relationship. You're not going to have your needs met. Or, on the other side of things, it's something to do with them. Say, for example, they're discovering that they might be on the asexual spectrum, or ACE. And then that's a case of, okay, well, we've got these discoveries. It's not about me, it's about them. So how are my needs going to be met? Does that work for me? Or, do I need to open the relationship up or have a different relationship, or do I need to get a fuck buddy or whatever, And then I think everywhere on the spectrum is going to be affected by beauty ideals. And so what is your spouse doing to unlearn that stuff? What is your partner doing to not contribute towards bigotry? Are they committed to bigotry? So the types who are committed to bigotry are the types who are like, you need to lose weight. Those are the people who are committed to bigotry, because that should not happen. They need to be examining their anti-fat bias, their healthism, their ableism, all that type of stuff, right? And say if that happens, they say, I'm not attracted to you or whatever, then that's a them problem. It's not a you problem. They need to be doing the work. Do you want to be with someone who is not willing to do the work? Maybe you are, maybe you're not. If you are, how is that contributing towards the way that you're feeling? How is it contributing when you're in a world that tells you that fatness is abhorrent, and then go home to the place that's meant to be a safe space, a soft place to land, and you have the same message? Hopefully that's not the case for many people. Hopefully we're more to the, your spouse is attracted to you, but you just don't believe them. Because if they're not attracted to you, I think they need to be going to the door. Okay, so here's to wrap up everything that we're talking about. Some questions to ask yourself. I'm going to make the questions into a post so that you have it at hand. So questions to ask yourself around this. Are you yucking their yum? Are you shaming them for being attracted to you and trying to convince them that they are wrong? If that's the case, it's kind of breaking down building relationship. It's creating barriers to building a deeper connection and relationship. Is it actually likely that your spouse is disgusted by you and they are with you just as an act of charity? Is there something that they are doing that makes you feel the way that you're feeling? Can you address this? Can you ask them to do something different? Is there anything they can do or say to help you with this feeling? Does self-acceptance have to come from within? If so, how can you work on this? And working on this could look like going to therapy. It could look like listening to podcasts. It could look like doing Fierce Fatty Academy, my program, things like that. Does that self-acceptance have to come from within? I think that's the biggest thing, right? It's probably going to have to come from within. Annoying. Is your partner so deep in anti-fat hate that they need to work on their own issues? If so, do you want to be with someone who is committed to your oppression? Does your body have a built-in bigot detector due to your size? Is that a helpful thing at all for you? So when I talk about that, I'm talking about the fact that I'm lucky that I won't end up accidentally with someone who hates fat people, because they'll see my body and they'll say, oh, no, I hate fat people. Let's go and find me a thin person, which is wonderful. Love it. But because I'm white, I might accidentally end up with a racist. I might accidentally end up with someone who is ableist or, etc., right? But I'm probably not going to end up with someone who is a transphobe because I'm non-binary. With shades, right? Because we're all racist. We're all bigots, right? But if I had a thin body and then I became fat in the relationship, that's difficult, because then you could discover that you're with a fat phobe and you didn't realize before. So if that's the case, do you want to deal with that BS if they're putting it on you? Do you want to help them through unlearning that anti-fat bias? And by the way, anti-fat bias is not a sexual preference that we should accept. Are you accepting it? Right? You cannot possibly say, I will never be attracted to any fat person on the planet. Ever. That's just ridiculous, right? It's ridiculous. That's not true. Really? There's no possibility there's any fat person that's attractive? No. So, fat phobia is not a sexual preference. So, in conclusion, I think that if we're not already doing this, we need to cut out the I don't believe you, how can you find me attractive, or I'm so ugly, or I'm so fat, or my belly's so yuck, or whatever. I think we need to, I feel like that's an automatic, words that come out of our mouth a lot of the time. But I think we need to try and stop saying those things and start just saying thank you. And learn all that anti-fat bias that we have lurking in our brains. And just as an example of what that looks like. So now I've done many years of this work, right? Before, I was a raging fat phobe, right? I would date really inappropriate people who were abusive, who were not kind to me, and I would basically try and be a porn star for them. I would fake orgasms like all the time. I would be going to like sex classes to learn how to be the best blowjob giver or hand job giver ever to make up for my fatness, right? I would not expect them to be showering me with compliments, and would be sad when it didn't happen. One of my exes, he'd always just say, "You look good," and I'd always be like, "Thanks." Oh, no, he wouldn't say good. He'd say, "You look fine. You look fine." Like I'd come down from, for a night out and be like, here's my, me in my nice dress and heels and makeup and hair. And he'd say, "You look fine." And I would always be like, that's tough. Anyway, so that would be my life. I'd be just constantly trying to make up for fatness. If a partner did say they were attracted to me, I'd always be like, they're lying. They're secretly attracted to other people. They once told me that they were attracted to this type of person. That's not me. So clearly they're settling for me for whatever reason. Now, you know what? Just before this podcast, I put on some lippy, some mascara because I like to. Not because I don't feel good. It's just because that makes me feel good. And I looked in the mirror and I was like, "Oh, you look so good. Oh my God." And I sat down and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's really nice." And that happens quite often. And is that going to happen overnight for a lot of people, that they're going to often say to themselves, "Oh, I look really good in the mirror," and think about, "Oh, if someone had their hands on this bum right now, they'd be like, oh, if someone got to hold these tits, they'd be like, oh my God, I'm in heaven." That's what I'm thinking, is that the people who get to be with me are really fucking lucky. Not because I've got a great personality, but because I've got a great personality and a human body which is visually interesting and sexy and soft and wonderful and worthy, And I too am deliriously happy to be with them, in bed with them, getting to touch their body, their imperfect body, like my imperfect body, and exploring it and discovering it. And I'm not thinking, "Ooh, look at this, whatever." I'm thinking, what luck I have that someone trusts me enough to be in this vulnerable state with me, and we get to explore each other. And I'm going to trust them that they want to be here. And I'm going to trust that if they don't want to be here, they're going to say it and not be with me versus lie to me. I'm just going to have to accept their word, which can be tough. But now, now I'm just like, well, if, some people aren't attracted to me, they're wrong, but, I just think, it's fine. It doesn't mean anything about me. It just means that there's many colors in the rainbow. And, some people, I just think, not even some, lots of people would just be like, fuck yeah, I get to go and be with Vinny. I get to go on a date with them. I get to have sex with them. Shit, that's so cool. And someone is going to be like that with you. And not even someone, many people. And more likely than not, the person that you're with. And that's really cool. That's really, really awesome and exciting. I'm jealous because I don't have a partner already. And I really want a partner. Yeah. So if you think they are lying, then, that sounds like an issue that maybe we need to end a relationship. If they are committed to being, anti-fat hate stuff, and then that doesn't sound great. But if they're telling you that they think that you're attractive, we just got to believe them. If you think that they're being truthful, and then work on our own shit. And also expect that it's going to take time. And remember that you're just a fucking incredible human. You're alive and amazing. And I was talking to someone I was talking to a client on the phone. And they said they have this t-shirt because and I really want to get it. It says, "I'm not just a mind, I'm a piece of meat." I was like, shit, man, I need to get that. I'm not just a mind, I'm a piece of meat. Yeah. So what can we do to help you feel better about your body? And other things I forgot to mention. You can do things like boudoir photography, or Vivian McMaster has a course called Be Your Own Beloved. It's like a course where you take photos of yourself and you start small, like it's take photos of your toes, take photos of your shadow, take photos of your ear, slowly building up, and then you're going to be able to hopefully see the visually interesting aspects of your body and see your body in ways that maybe you hadn't seen it before. And these are photos that are just for you, right? You don't need to post them anywhere, but you can if you want to. So that's Vivian McMaster's Be Your Own Beloved. There's also my program, Fierce Fatty Academy. You also can go to therapy. You can also do things for free, like listening to podcasts. I mean, shit, what episode are we on now? 153. If you binged all of my podcasts, how long would that take? That's like a couple of weeks worth of continuous listening. I think that you'll probably feel a lot better because you're surrounding yourself with that positivity, right? And be very cognizant of how much you're surrounding yourself with normative bodies. And really, I cannot tell you how much this probably affects you without you knowing. It affects me. I've been watching that fucking The Circle on Netflix. And it's not even about bikini babes or anything, but there's a lot of normative bodies. And that is triggering for me. Someone who's been doing this work for years. And that's something I notice. I'm like, okay, well, I need to take a break from this. Okay, brain, you're telling me. And that's just what it is to live as a fat person in this society that tells us we need to be a certain way. All right. Well, thank you for hanging out with me. Hey, by the way, guess what? I've not really shared this anywhere, but I just set up a Ko-fi. Ko-fi is like Patreon, but Patreon takes tons of fees from the people who are on Patreon. So Ko-fi is a version of Patreon which is better for the creator. And so if you want to say thank you for all of this free content, you can buy me a coffee on Ko-fi. So you can chuck me $5 to say thank you, or you can subscribe, and if you subscribe for as little as $5 a month, you can get, this thing's so fucking good, the Size Diversity Resource Guide. It's, oh my God, you need to get this, okay? You need to get this. If you listen to me, you need to get, I forgot about this. I was like, oh yeah. Science Diversity Resource Guide. So if you go to my Ko-fi, go to my go to the link, the notes, the show notes, whatever, blah blah blah, and I will have a link for the Ko-fi. You can get the Science Diversity Resource Guide, which it's 37 pages, and it has people to follow, books to read, TEDx talks, Facebook groups, private communities for fat people, science, places to shop, podcasts. It is fucking amazing. It is really good. Okay, listen, I'm telling you, $5. Go get it. Okay, just go get it. Go listen. If you're struggling, I'm telling you, it's really, you'll like it. All right, it's really good. All right, I'm gonna stop tooting my own horn. Not that I don't deserve to toot my own horn, because that's a really good thing for a really, really cheap price. But yeah, anyway, I'm losing my voice, that's why. So I'm gonna go walk the doogie. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Thank you for being a part of the Fierce Fat Year community. Remember that you are worthy, you always were, and you always will be. Okay? Stay fierce, fatty. See you in a while, alligator.
Perfect.